Woo.
There you go. All right. Recording is in progress, gentlemen and lady.
All good, all good.
Okay. Well, that's trivial. Um, is there anything I can discern about
So
him?
about Struviel, so he is sort of still hidden by rocks. So what you can't see, I mean, you could sort of see him, you sort of can't. He's got a lot of cover over there, and it looks to be very purposefully built so that it make it difficult for him to see. The theory was, I mean, as you guys go into battle, the theory, generally speaking, was that Ivornia was going to try and lure you guys into probably like this area here, while continuing to hide the nature of their what they are, and that would allow Struviel to remain hidden and then come potentially around behind you or attack with surprise, something like that from the rear. That obviously didn't work. You know he's there. You guys have gotten a better look at Ivornia, so you know that she is not necessarily the elven maid she claims to be. So she, there could be trouble there. But yeah, you guessing that a lot of that, sort of help us and we welcome you and that kind of stuff was all sort of to lure you in. The problem was you guys came down sort of unexpectedly and they didn't have time to hide all their disgusting buffet over here.
At least they're organized.
Yeah, they weren't like savage. These bodies were all sort of like lined up and to certain extents for each, to greater or lesser extents, essentially butchered. So they're nothing if not tidy.
So I are you telling me I really can't discern anything about Struviel?
You have dark vision, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can sort of see him back there, but he's still behind a lot of manufactured cover. So he's definitely, you can only see him a little bit. He's back there. You can't really see too much of him, because he's essentially hiding.
Okay. He's hiding, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess if he's hiding in the dark, he's probably tired, and I'm going to cast a sleep spell on him.
Ooh, okay. So are you going to step forward, or are you going to get Arendar in that sleep spell?
Oh. Well, Arendar does look a little tired.
Could
can
probably
I do it over his shoulder using him as like a brace?
Sure. What in the?
I might be standing on a rock behind him. I can't tell. This map doesn't really have elevation.
No, so you're not really standing on a rock. It is kind of like there's a lot of like rubble and stuff in front of you, but it's not huge rubble. So it's not like big boulders. There's a fair amount of smaller sized stuff and some like nooks and crannies, and that's basically what he's built over there. You can see some of these larger rocks he sort of put up, and he's sort of down behind them. So he's not standing up behind a large boulder. He's sort of crunched down behind some much lower kind of things, but you don't have any real elevation on him.
Got it. So you're saying I don't have a good shot?
Well, sleep spell is, more of an area of effect. So
yeah, it's a 10-foot radius burst, and he can cast it from 100 plus 10 per level away.
Yeah, so you can sort of like plop it down somewhere, even though the guy has cover, it will still potentially be effective. So,
or I think you've got magic missile, and that one, as long as you can see even a tiny sliver of them, automatically hits.
Yep.
Yeah, it just doesn't do much. No. So I'm just thinking if I can get him snoozing, we can all get Ivornia. So I'll try a sleep and see what happens.
Okay. So you cast sleep spell over Arendar's shoulder into that area, and you just sort of like plop down a radius burst. I'm assuming you're like right on top of them. In this case, however, because of the nature of the creature, he is immune to sleep effects, among other things. So you cast a spell. You can feel the magical energies sort of washing down over that region, but you also feel like, because of the nature of the creature, which you suspect is undead, that sleep spell did not have any effect.
Well, how come I just now find out he's undead?
Because I've let you guys do what you want to do and just tell you what happens.
Okay. Well, I throw myself onto the ground and pound my head and fists like a child having a tantrum, going,
Okay.
I hate my GM, he's so mean.
Stupid, undead, stupid. All right, so that's you times. Now you can still move if you want.
I'm gonna hide behind the bigger folk.
Okay, sounds good. Vondram, you see past Poe. You can see Titus has cast a spell, and he seems frustrated by the result. You may have heard him curse just a teeny bit.
Can I see her very well from where I'm at?
Not really. So if you look at this, where Arendar is standing, there's like a little piece of wall here. You kind of have to go around the corner. There's this area right here. Let me draw it so it makes.
If you moved right there, you can see past me.
Is that
yes.
But the wall goes to like right here.
So there's like a little. Jesus, it's black. Really roll 20.
A 5-foot step should do it, right?
This area right here is sort of like a little patio, and there's a wall like right here.
I'm not seeing it. Are you seeing anything?
Yeah, it's on the wrong.
Oh, fire. Hold on 1 second.
I'm just trying to figure out if a 5-foot step would do it.
Right
It sounds
there.
like not.
Right there is where the wall is.
Yeah. And who's in front of me? That's me.
Oh.
We came down this
way. Yeah, so I
can go past him.
Yeah,
right
so
there.
Okay, so I'll take I'll move. Excuse me. Okay,
the square area is sort of like a little patio that looks into the room, like a landing almost. The yellow line is wall, and where Ono is standing is essentially an iron, a metal ladder that goes up to the surface and comes down about, what did we say, 20, 25 feet, something like that.
Got it.
So this is pretty deep in the earth.
All right, I've got one last create pit, but before I cast it, how big does she look to me? I can't really tell from the picture.
Elf-sized.
What's that?
Elf-sized.
Oh, okay. So it's got 145-foot range on it, so I should be good. So I'm going to cast create pit.
Okay. Let me get a pit for you here.
The DC on that is going to be a 15.
Okay, and this is a 10-foot pit?
Actually 16, a 10-foot pit, 10 by 10, 20-foot deep.
Okay, and I'm assuming you want to put it like, I'm thinking like, what, like right there kind of thing?
Yeah, I think that's perfect, Les.
Okay.
Thank you for helping out.
Okay, no problem.
About 50 foot south and maybe 5 foot east, somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there? So like almost like this then is what you're thinking.
Well, even maybe a foot or two further south.
That?
Just like that, yes.
Okay, perfect.
You're like tomato plants and move this thing, aren't you?
No. Hold on a second. I gotta move you to the back here for a sec. All right. So I'm assuming you want to put it like right here?
Right underneath her, yeah.
Okay. All right. So she gets a saving throw, reflex save, yeah, to jump out of the way.
Sorry, I came off this page to help my DM move the pit.
Rookie mistake.
Yes, reflex 16. Yep.
Reflex 16. Here we go with that. Shit. All right. So she lets out a hideous scream as she falls down into the pit and takes, if it's 20 feet deep, she takes what, 2d6?
Yep.
You want to go ahead and roll that, or do you want me to?
I would be glad to roll that, but you go ahead and roll it because we're moving laptops around like madmen.
All right, 4 points of damage as she falls into the pit. You also hear her yell out in Elvish, Struviel, kill them all. Get the food. And then start to see this guy begin to move out of his little cairn there. So Vondrum, you have moved and cast a spell. How long does the pit last?
Let me look that up for you, and you go ahead and keep moving. I'll let you know. Okay.
It's
All
pretty long.
Yeah, it's longish. Gordon's on it.
5 rounds.
5 rounds?
Yep.
And I guess with 20 foot deep, is the reflex save to try and climb 20 feet out of the pit?
No,
Well, that'd be a climb check. That would be a climb check to try and get out of it.
No, the
Reflex save is to
was
keep from falling in.
from falling in.
Okay. I didn't know if to get out, you had to use the same reflex, but that makes sense.
You,
Yep.
you can't get out unless you can climb the sides.
Cool.
Yep, we'll have to check and see if she's got climb checks. She's got big claws, so that'll help her. Poe, what are you doing?
So with reach, how far do I have to? Can I go? I can't go there. I got to go around, right?
You can't go through the yellow line. That's cave wall.
But you can go through the yellow box. That's just a landing.
You can go through the yellow box, which is just a landing. Yeah, if you want, I can take the box away.
It's not letting me move past that area. I'm stuck there. Oh, there we go. Ah, sorry, I got a little screen and all my. Now I see the disadvantage of having the thing up on top there. Can you, Les? Can you move him up a little bit?
Sure, to like right about here.
Yeah, 10 feet away from him, and I'll just do an attack on him.
On Struviel, okay.
Looks like I'm gonna miss.
6 is a miss. So yeah, no damage there as Struviel dodges out of the way. He's a weird looking dude. All right, Ivornia, let me check. She does climb. So the DC to climb out of a pit is it's 20 feet. So let me check here real quick.
We have a dog here, by the way.
Oh yeah? Would this be considered a surface with adequate handholds, like very rough natural rock, or an uneven surface with some narrow handholds, such as a typical wall in a dungeon? I'm leaning towards dungeon.
That's what I would think that I'm trying to.
Okay, it says right here from the spell to climb DC of 25 to get out.
25.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Good. That's perfect. All right. Well,
I didn't look up the spell.
she has. Yeah, I didn't think of that either. She has climb +8, so she's going to try and begin climbing out of the pit as fast as she can. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh yeah, so she's coming up. Wait, no, what was 25? Shit, she failed. That 25 is awfully steep.
Well,
I think that should be more like a 12.
It's not meant to be an easy thing to get out of. Otherwise, the spell's kind of useless.
All right. Well, you could hear. Well, climbing out of a 20-feet pit, even if it. All right. Well, I guess that's true. All right. So she
You're
can
sound like me. Stop it.
All right. So she is having trouble getting out of that pit, not having a good time, but doing her darndest. Oh no.
Yes, sir. All right.
You see everybody in front of you sort of running into the room. You can hear the sounds of spells being cast and Poe attacking creatures and some unearthly screams. Do you speak Elvish?
I do not.
Do this,
I do not. So can I get to that guy, Struviel?
What is your speed?
It's probably 40.
40.
4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So 7 will. Well, actually, let's do it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 will put you right here.
Can I get there and then punch that guy?
Get a single swing, yes.
Yeah, you'll get a single swing.
And then here it comes. Here comes the trouble.
So you guys see Ono just whipping around that corner, and he's like, "I'm gonna punch something."
I'm gonna punch this guy
that?
so hard he's gonna meet his grandma.
He's got a really big neck though, so you might end up punching him in the neck.
All right, 14.
14 is, I believe, a miss. It is indeed.
Oh, well.
Swing and a miss.
Next time.
Literally. Arendar, what about you?
Okay. I can get to right there with a single move.
Yep.
And I'm coming from that one, so I'm not going through
Going around.
Square.
Yep.
And then I'm taking a single swing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, shoot. That would be a natural 20, wouldn't it? And the confirmation?
23.
23. Well, they have AC 18, so that is a confirmed crit. First strike for Arendar. A confirmed crit. You want to do the chart or you want to do the damage?
No, 36 points of damage.
36 points of damage. Well, you end up cutting him into half. You just come up behind him and you bring that heavy bladed falcata sideways on an angle, hit him amidships, and just go right through. He slides apart into two chunks that fall to the ground, and his eyes, those blue lantern looking eyes, are still blinking and glowing, and they're looking at you like, the hell just happened? As all of his black innards just sort of pouring out all over the stones.
Okay, I yell at him, stay.
And they begin to flow towards you as they head towards this watery area. As a slow slide of guts and oily blood begins to flow that way.
Sick. All right.
Wraith, what do you do?
So I've seen this creature fall into a pit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to, and she didn't come back out. So
no, you can hear her screeching down there.
I'm going to move. I can get all the way with a double move. I can get all the way to here.
Okay.
And I'll look over the edge of the pit with the bow aimed for next round and see this creature down there clawing at the smooth walls trying to get up.
Yeah, she's got these big, long, undead claws, and she's just like scratching at the thing, and you could see bits of the claws breaking off when it hits the edges of the pit, and she's just screeching. She's just screeching a blue streak, at being trapped in here.
Okay,
you're just preparing to attack next time.
Correct.
All right, Struviel, poor Struviel. We barely knew you. He's gone. Round 2, we go into. It is 4 rounds left for the pit, and it's time for Titus to cast another. Hold on a second. I clicked too many times. Titus to cast another spell against undead. Or, well, your target is gone.
Yeah.
It's still there. You got multiple targets now.
And a couple of pieces.
Well, let's see.
Use mending.
Use mending.
Okay. I will.
You also saw you saw Wraith go running over to behind the guy in the stasis field or whatever the hell it is.
Okay. I guess I will move up and try to get a look at what's going on. So I think I'm 30 feet, which would take me about here, I believe.
Okay.
Can I tell anything about the dude in the circle, the stasis guy, as you call him?
Give me a knowledge arcana.
Okay. Let's see.
It's a bit beyond your education. I mean, you could tell that he's standing. He's standing on the ground, and he's just standing there. So you could see a couple of things. One, on the ground, written under him is a pretty complex magical circle, with runes and various sort of arcane symbols and stuff like that. He personally is surrounded by sort of this pale energy. And he's just sort of standing there. And your guess is that this energy is either holding him in some sort of stasis or imprisoning him in some way. He's not moving. You do see a couple of things also. This close, you can see that he is wearing a uniform of a Chalaxian soldier.
Does he appear to be alive?
He doesn't look like he's breathing. But he doesn't also have any indications that he's dead either. I mean, he doesn't at least appear to be breathing, but he doesn't appear to be decomposing either. He's wearing the uniform of a Chilaxian soldier, and when you look at his eyes are actually open, but you can't see any actual eyes. All you see is sort of this, well, it looks like fire flickering in a black sphere. So his eyes look like black spheres, and there's fire flickering behind them. It's the only movement inside the pale sort of energy field that he's in that you can see.
And I shout back to the group what I've seen, and I don't know what it is. It's pretty weird, but here's what I see.
Do you have knowledge nobility?
I
Or knowledge warfare or any sort of military knowledge or anything like that?
don't think so. I have planes, arcana, and religion.
Religion might work. Give me a religion. Knowledge religion.
Okay.
16. It's not so much religious, but you recognize that this is Chilaxian. So Chilaxian uniforms are a little different from Sargavan uniforms. They're similar because Sargavans are essentially Chilaxian colonists, but they do wear different uniforms. This is a Chilaxian uniform, and it indicates that this guy is a captain in some sort of infantry or ground troops. He's an infantry captain.
Okay.
So an officer.
And I relay that back as well.
Okay. All right. That it for you?
I think so.
Vandrum of the Pit. What is your next move? Are they gone? Are they there? Jennifer, are you there?
I'm here. I'm out of spells.
4 more rounds left on the pit.
Yeah, I'm going to, I think I'm just going to do a double move, which is going to take me 60 feet to the pit.
Okay.
So these are 5-foot squares, right?
Yep.
Okay. I'll come over here to the dais. So I'm just going to move down there.
Okay.
Yep, that's it.
All right. So as you get closer to that dais, you realize that this is, in large part, this is a altar's too strong a word, but sort of like an obelisk kind of thing. And there is a statue of this Enyariel, who is essentially the deity of this particular grotto kind of thing.
Okay.
It looks like some space in there as well between, these are sort of like steps. There's like a little altar or some sort of table kind of thing here, which might be a sarcophagus. It's big enough, certainly. And then there's a statue here of who you expect to be Enyariel. It's a female elf with very long hair holding a longsword.
And then what are these left? Are those like fire sources? Yeah,
they're sort of relatively dim permanent light sources. They're lanterns that are set on there. Looking at them, they don't flicker or anything. You're guessing that continual light or something similar was cast in them.
Okay. And then with a double move, can I still charge my weapon, which is a swift action for me?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to take out my spear.
Okay.
And I'm going to move myself back a little bit because I've got reach with it. And guard on this front. Can I see it up on those stairs a little bit higher than normal?
Sure. Yeah. It's
okay.
just maybe a foot if you go up both of the stairs. They're not high.
Okay. So that's what I'm doing. I've got my weapon charged. I'm there on the steps and I'm guarding this side should she try this direction.
Excellent. Polearm. Arendar once again steals your kill. He's only done this about 500 times, and it's really starting to grate. I have a feeling.
He's a better warrior than me. Good shot, Arendar. Okay. Oh, hey, I actually got him out of there. Okay, I'm just going to do a move down.
Okay.
To there.
Okay. By Vandrum, you got your spear out as well?
Yeah, I got it. Yep.
Ivornia stops screeching. She looks up and she sees Wraith there with his bow, with sort of knocking a new arrow and kind of like overwatching her. And she just looks up and she stops trying to climb and she begins to weep piteously. I'm sorry for what I've done. I didn't mean to do any of it. We were forced to do it by circumstance. We came down here with the best of intentions, and then everything went so wrong. Please stay your hand. I have suffered enough. My husband and I have suffered enough. And she sort of backs up against the wall opposite you, Wraith. She's not. You don't get the impression that she's trying to hide from you. She does seem legitimately sort of. What's the word I'm looking for? Not hysterical, but remorseful. Yeah. So, Poe, what are those checks for?
One was religion and one was arcana, the last one.
Okay. And they were to look at, what are you looking at? That guy?
Yeah, the guy. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, similar kinds of things. I mean, your arcana check was just one larger than Titus's. So, I mean, other than what he's seen, you really don't get much more than that. You've heard that sometimes there are people can be cursed into stasis fields or, forced to sleep forever, that kind of thing. But you've heard them in terms of curses, and this doesn't seem like that's what this is. It seems much more arcane. A curse of that nature, to be temporally dislocated, that's really more of a witch thing or, that kind of stuff. This doesn't look at all witchy. This looks like magic user stuff.
Right. Okay.
All right. Avornia continues to sob piteously down in the thing. I'm sorry for what we've done. We were forced. We were starving. We didn't know what to do. And we turned us into monsters. Please stay your hand, sir. Stay your hand. We were so hungry. That's what she does. Oh no, what do you do?
I remember that.
I would like to walk over here. Wait. I'm sorry. What's that guy doing?
So that's what Titus and Polearm are sort of examining right now. It's just a dude sort of standing there, and he's surrounded by this sort of pale energy field. He's standing in the middle of a magical circle of some kind, and he's just standing there. And he looks like a soldier of some kind. He's wearing a uniform. I'm not sure that you would be able to recognize it as a Chilaxian uniform. It's possible, I suppose. Okay. But certainly Titus would tell you that's a Chilaxian officer's uniform. This guy's a Chilaxian officer. He looks like a Chilaxian dude.
All right, great. Can I move then? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And
sure.
Can I call down to this lady here?
Mm-hmm. Avornia, sure.
Yes. Hello, Avornia. My name is Ono. You seem very upset. Look, it looks like you've done some horrible things. What is your excuse now? You say that somebody made you. Who?
No excuse. We came down here when the fires began to burn our village, and people were dying or trying to escape up the river. We came down here to preserve the sacred places to Anyariel, which is a name that our DM always seems to forget and has to look at his notes where it says Anyariel in big letters so he doesn't forget. We came down here to protect this place, me and my husband, who were the primary caregivers for the shrine, and then others came down as well when it became clear that our food storage was gone and we had run through all of our rations. It was only a matter of time before we were forced to engage in the most horrible of acts. I regret everything, but please don't kill me. I've suffered so much. Please.
I see 1, 2, 3, 12 slaughtered people over there, all laid out. What do you have to say about that? That's horrible. That's horrible.
We did only what we had to survive. It was not something we wanted to do, but the change forces upon us such a terrible, terrible hunger. There was no controlling us. We went into frenzies. We tried as best we could to preserve our friends and colleagues and neighbors, but we couldn't in the end. We couldn't control it.
The change? What change?
You see how I look, don't you? You see what I am? And her, like, those blue glowing eyes sort of look up at you, up from the pit, the darkness of the pit. You see what has happened to us here? What we've I don't know if what we did caused us to change or if the change caused us to do what we did. It was all so confusing and terrifying. We just simply didn't know.
Madam, how long have you had this condition?
I don't know. We've been down here ever since the fire took our village, but there's no sun, there's no moon. I know not the passage of days down here. All we knew was the terrible hunger that set upon us, that ate at our very beings.
About roughly, when did this hunger start to afflict you?
7.5 to 9.5 days ago.
I see.
No, she doesn't know. She's like, we've been down here. We have no idea how many suns have passed since we went down here, how many moons have risen. We've been down here since but she will say, we've been down here since the fire took our village. And everybody say so long enough. If you think back when you guys came over the bridge, it's long enough for those 2 soldiers that were in the tower to have starved to death. So a couple of weeks at least.
I see. Madam, it seems like you are under some sort of dire curse. You must know that if we cannot figure out a way to cure or free you, we must take extreme measures to make sure that you harm no further innocent people. So how do you think you might be cured?
I don't know. I don't know if there's a cure. I don't know what caused it, let alone what would cure me. All I know is that when the hunger comes, I am not responsible for my actions.
And who's this soldier chap here? Is he your friend?
He was down here. He was down here. He has been down here for decades. I don't know who he is. He's been trapped here for decades. He's just been part of the furniture, really.
All right, then you know what? I'm going to leave him be for now. Interesting. I'm going to pass my turn and let someone else talk to this nice lady. Or not.
Arendar?
Okay, while this conversation was going on, I just made my way down and came up next to my brother and asked him, why haven't you shot her yet?
I was allowing the monk to pontificate.
Oh, okay.
You know, well, I say, ma'am, if you possibly can, please try to think of some clue, some hint that might help us to help you. Otherwise, it looks bad for you.
I know nothing. I know not what has occurred to me, but please don't slay me out of hand. I know that those guys over there, they seek only to murder and to kill. That I think, please have mercy on me as a fellow elf.
Are there more like you who had this curse?
Not that I know of. We were down here only with those of us from the village who came down here to be safe from the fire, and when we knew that the fire continued and that everything else was gone, we dared not leave. I yet remain in service to Anyariel, although I doubt that she sees it the same way as I once was. Arendar, are you going to do anything?
No, it was double move to get down there.
Wraith?
Okay, so I have a question.
Sure.
Am I considered adjacent to her?
Well, no, you're 20 feet above her. So she's down at the bottom of this pit, sort of talking up to you guys. And then you guys are all sort of, you and Ono and Arendar are all sort of clustered around the edge of the pit talking with her. But she's actually on if you imagine looking down into a square pit, she's actually on the opposite wall. So she's on the wall that's closest to Ono, which is sort of opposite you, because she was originally talking to you, and then Ono came up. And
I only asked the question because of the rules for coup de grace. You can coup de grace with a bow, and it says if you're adjacent to the target, which kind of doesn't make any sense, because if you had a bow, why would you walk up, stand right over it, and then it has no flight time? But anyway, so aside from that rule, if coup de grace doesn't work here. I'm just going to fire 2 arrows.
Okay, you're just going to be like, I don't care what you say. You've eaten people. That's it for me.
Oh no, as far as I'm concerned, Mercy would be sending her soul to Yariel or Yariel to see if she gets forgiven. It has nothing to do with me. She's a creature now. She got to die.
She's undead.
Okay. All right. 16
and 24.
24 is a hit. The 16 will miss.
So 6 damage plus 5 sneak attack is 11.
You get a sneak attack for that?
Yeah, she's within 30 feet and she can't move. She loses her dex because she's in a pit.
She lose a dex because of pit? She can still sort of move around. I mean, it's a 10-foot wide pit. I mean, she's sort of like a fish in a barrel, though.
Exactly.
That's a good point. I don't know if pits cause you to lose your dex. I'll allow it because I think that makes sense. But we may have to check that.
And if it doesn't, that's fine. I just
we'll be all right.
At this point, I'm thinking shooting fish in a barrel. So her AC shouldn't be that high.
It's not that high.
Unless it's natural armor or something that can deflect the arrow.
Let me check and see if there's a DC. So actually that first arrow will hit too if she loses her dex bonus to AC. Because they're nimble little minxes. So how much total?
8, 9, 10. 15, 16, 21.
All right. So she had her 13 hit points since you'd already hit her once. So the first arrow takes her in the chest and she screams out, no. And the second one takes her right through one of those lantern looking eyes. And she falls backwards against the wall, slides down. Again, a pool of that black blood comes pouring out of the holes that you put into her. And she rattles as she slides backward. Oh no, you're a little freaked by this, but we fall out of initiative at that point.
Aaron Darlene's over and says, nice shot.
May Anyariel forgive you if you're truly repentant.
Your last breath is, screw you. All right, she's dead down in the pit. Eventually, the pit disappears and she is brought back up to the top about 10 seconds later, 10, 12 seconds later. And so she's just laying there. She's, as the walls go away, she just sort of like falls backwards in front of you guys. What do you guys do?
Wow. So we have a priest in the group, right?
Kind of.
What do you mean, kind of? Poe is very much a priest.
I would ask Poe to inspect the bodies because there had been mention of undead. And if he has knowledge of that type of thing, do we need to burn them? Do we need to? I mean, Wraith is sort of a.
How do we make sure they don't come back?
Yeah, Wraith is kind of a raised in the ghetto country kid. He doesn't or city kid. He doesn't understand all that stuff, but he has heard like all of you got to cut their head off and bury it upside down with a spike and all the other sort of superstitious mumbo jumbo that goes along with vampires and other undead of that nature.
Well, Poe, as you kind of examine Ivornia, you take a look at that, and your first thought is that she's become a ghoul, but you also recognize that she has some qualities that are not 100% ghoul-like. She's exhibited a significant amount of intelligence and a level of strategic thinking and frankly. Loquaciousness that would be unlike a lot of ghouls. So you're thinking maybe something a little different than a ghoul, maybe a ghast. Now you do know that becoming those kind of undead, she's definitely undead, as is Struviel. They're both similarly warped, so you're guessing that they may both have been ghasts. How it happened, you have no idea.
He is a ghast.
Right.
Well, so if the story that she says is true, that they came down here 2 to 3 weeks ago, they ran out of food, there was trouble, and now they have 2 of them are ghasts and the rest of them are dead, that doesn't necessarily make is not necessarily a story that makes a ton of sense. Usually, and for ghasts, I mean that you would know this, Poe, is that they're made in the same way that ghouls. A ghoul bites someone, they get ghoul fever, they die a couple of days later, and they return as a ghoul. Ghasts are a little bit more intelligent, but they're usually, to your knowledge, they are usually made the same way.
And when they're dead, they're dead.
When they're dead, they're dead. Yeah, you don't have to do any other specific problems. Although there are a lot of people who feel like you should burn ghasts just to make sure that they don't re-knit. But you believe that to be a wives' tale.
So ghasts, and Aaron Darby asked this. So ghasts don't make themselves. Does that mean there's another one around here that we haven't found?
Well, it could be that she was just lying to try to not get filled full of arrows.
Well, Les said that there was something that possibly could be a crypt here. Let's look at the sarcophagus and see what.
So this thing is a sarcophagus, and it does have this Anyariel's name in it in Elvish and runic Old Elvish. As you sort of go around it, you also find something a little interesting. There is a body on the thing in between the sarcophagus and the statue, with its back up against the sarcophagus. So this guy here is facing to the southwest, and he's got his back up against the sarcophagus, and his feet pointed towards the statue, and he has a large sort of elvish-made mace in his hand. The mace radiates magic, and it doesn't look like that he has been bitten or butchered in any way. He's dead, and he has some wounds on him that it looks like maybe he was attacked or something like that, but he doesn't look like he's been eaten at all. And he looks to you like maybe one of the local elves, and here's what he looks like.
Okay. But he's dead?
He's dead, yeah.
But he's standing up?
He's sitting with his back up against the back of the sarcophagus, which is why you didn't see him at first. He's sort of hidden back there, but he's sitting in the area between the statue and the sarcophagus, where he's sort of slumped down a little bit, so his head is below the lid of the sarcophagus. So you didn't see him from before. He was completely hidden from before. It's only Poe when you guys come around and examine the sarcophagus and have actually found that he's back there. Doesn't look like he was eaten in any way by the two ghasts, which is strange. And his mace radiates magic.
Could be an offering for whatever's in the sarcophagus.
Could be.
Is there any way to tell what kind of wounds he sustained?
It looks like claw marks.
Can anyone detect magic on everything around here to see if there's some kind of aura, maybe a protective aura that he was trying to be in or something?
I can cast detect magic.
So he doesn't radiate any aura, but his mace, which is sort of across his lap, does radiate magic, and you can tell that there is some magic on something underneath his. He has like a sort of this like leather armor cuirass that he's wearing, and there's something tucked inside, and you're guessing it's something that's like attached around his neck that also radiates a little bit of magic.
Well, let's grab it.
And you're on mute, Gordon, if you were trying to say something.
Check for chat traps, right? See if this is rigged somehow to do something.
Okay. I'll move over to wherever I can get and just basically go around the whole area of this thing and check for traps and secret compartments and things of that nature.
Okay.
And I don't get to do roguely stuff very often. So it's perception to find them, disable device if I find something?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first perception check sucked.
You don't see any traps. Looks pretty safe. You just stick your hand right in there.
So it's one check for the whole thing?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so I don't see any traps on it.
Yep. You don't see any traps.
Okay.
Now you do see that this guy is somewhat decomposed. He's obviously dead, and there has been some decomposition take place. He seems, if the timeline that Ivornia mentioned, couple 3 weeks, enough time for people to starve to death, if that's accurate, and you don't know that it is, but if it is, this corpse seems pretty well preserved. So you're not sure that you're not sure that if he died, that it was at the beginning of that period.
Okay, so does his level of decomposition match the decomp of the bodies that are laying over there in the pile?
Less so. He is less decomposed than the bodies over in the blood field. And he has a couple of like claw wounds on him, which is what looks like killed him. There's one across his throat that sort of like is sort of ripped open. You're guessing claws. It doesn't look like it was delivered to him by an edged weapon or anything like that. And you're guessing that those wounds are what killed him. But yeah, he seems less decomposed than those guys over there, these guys here.
Okay.
So do we have somebody who can actually identify the mace that he's carrying?
Les, I did a 14 perception to check for traps as well around that whole area.
Okay.
Does that do anything different?
You don't see any traps, but you do think that maybe that this guy is leaning up against, well, frankly, it looks like a small door on the back of the sarcophagus.
Okay. I've got that. This is something I haven't used yet, Les, but I've got something called. Hang on a second, let me find it again. Voices of solid things. Raised in the witch market, you listen to the whispers of items as though they are alive, giving you clues to their function. Disable device is a class skill, etc. So So I'm going to kind of get a feel for the magic items using that.
All right. What was the name of that feat? Listen to
voices of solid things is what it's called.
Okay.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
I think it's from one of the Fae books, I believe.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to look it up in the SRD and I'm not seeing it, but that's okay. All right. So voices of solid things. Do you have it in front of you? What the actual thing says?
You listen to the whispers of items as though they are alive, giving you clues to their function. It's basically kind of like a psionic telepathy ability with
objects.
immovable objects.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're going to use this on the mace?
The magic items, to try to figure out what they are.
Spellcraft is typically what you would use. So like maybe if a Titus has spellcraft, that's what you use to identify items typically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I do have that. I can roll that too.
Okay, so you reach out sort of into the magical ether to this object that is lying on his chest. Essentially, it's held in his hands like this, and it's essentially a large what looks to be iron bar. That has a big sort of knob on the end of it, cunningly crafted, very interesting to look at, and it radiates magic. Not only magic that is the voices that you hear is basically saying not only am I good for fighting, but I'm also good for healing. I am I help the servants of Anyariel to heal as well as defend the grotto, and that kind of stuff.
Okay, well,
and that's the reason for that. The other item that's under his chest is what you're guessing is some sort of it looks like a holy symbol. You kind of like open it up and take a look at what it is. Then it's on a leather thong. It's obviously kind of homemade, but it looks like it's made out of carved wood with other sort of pieces and stains on it. But it looks like a very stylized representation of Anyariel, much like the statue. I mean, it's sort of the same shape. Might be a holy symbol, something like that. Radiates a little bit of magic. It tells you that its job is to protect the surface of Anyariel from the enemies of elves.
Okay, so can somebody give me a hand to gently take this guy down and lay him down? There's a compartment or something behind him that might be where this other thing is hiding at.
I'll come over and help.
I can help.
Okay. So you guys move him to, where do you guys move him to?
Just south side of the way.
Just anywhere, just like over here kind of thing?
Over with other bodies.
Just plop them into the old blood, you know. See you around, sucker.
No, like I said, we'll put them with the other bodies because we need to do something with them. So.
Okay, you're gonna put them over there. All right. What about the magic items? Beyond that, he doesn't have anything on him, by the way. Just the sort of wooden holy symbol, for lack of a better term, and the mace.
Well, we'll take both of those items.
Okay.
Assuming that hopefully we can run into some elves at some point that are still here that we can give them to.
Okay. All right, but yeah, there does look to be either a small compartment or it looks kind of too large. And you can see that it sort of stepped down a little bit. It might be a small door that goes into the sarcophagus, which is kind of odd.
Yeah.
So can I check that out?
Mm-hmm, sure.
And what's
I rolled that 29 perception, 2 less.
Oh.
So can I use that for checking for?
Hey, I'm going to tell the party like Valkyrie is out of spells, pretty much, just so we know. I mean, I don't know. It's not like you guys depend on me that much for spells, but I'm definitely down.
Yeah,
we were coming down
here.
rest.
So do we keep going or do we stay here though and defend this?
I say we barricade the door and then we rest here.
Yeah,
Makes sense to me.
but we got to clear it before we can do that. So
no, I barricade this door and then we rest here. I don't want to. If that's a door, it might go. It's not just into a sarcophagus. It might go somewhere else.
You guys are already about 25 to 30 feet deep under the surface of the village. If this is a thing that goes into the sarcophagus, it's like Gordon said, it could be just an opening of it might open into the sarcophagus. Maybe there's where some treasure is stored or something like that. It could be a compartment. But it doesn't look like the size or structure that would normally be sort of a compartment. It looks more like a small door.
but this whole thing is big enough that it could be into a room, right? I mean, it could just be into an area.
Could be
underneath it.
Yeah, I mean, it could. Yeah, I mean, it could be a passage to somewhere else.
Can we tell by hinges and stuff? Does this door open towards us or away from us?
It opens towards you.
So I say I go grab a couple of big rocks and we throw in front of this door and then we rest here. And then after we're done resting and we'll take care of the bodies, then we'll open this full strength. Because we've still got several people that are injured. At least by the bars, it looks like we got several people injured still.
Yeah, and Poe's got some healing left. He can heal if once we're stable here and know we're relatively safe.
Yeah, I mean, you can pull the lid down on the iron ladder. Well, you didn't see anybody upstairs either. There was nobody on the surface. I mean, you guys were in the village for a couple hours, and you didn't see anybody. Nobody approached or anything like that. Now, the village bears all the hallmarks of having some very bad shit happen here, but it seems to have happened in the past.
Right.
And you can. I don't know that you can lock it from inside, but it doesn't look like that. I mean, if what Ivornia says is true, there haven't been a lot of people down here. They've been busy eating each other.
Yeah. Like I said, there's lots of rubble and there's probably some larger stones here that I can
absolutely
grab a few of the heavier ones and put in front of that little door to the sarcophagus. Yeah. That way it can't open, at least not without a bunch of scraping noises and, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. No, there's plenty of rubble and fallen rock that you can pile up in there, both to put weight against the door and to create a noise if something comes up. You're pretty confident that would work.
Okay. So yeah, I would do that, and then as long as we got a way to block the stairs or the ladder or something, then yeah, I said we do that. We rest here. Maybe bury. We can find something. Is this floor dirt or is it all stone?
It's dirt.
So yeah, we can kind of. I'm not going to give them a 6-foot burial, but you know, at least bury the body and body parts. Maybe Poe can say some words over them, and then we can just rest.
Do you guys have shovels or anything like that?
That's what I said. We don't have
tools.
Tools that would, and that's why I said it wouldn't be a 6-foot pit. It would be literally pulling some dirt around so we could put the bodies all
a cairn or a mound almost.
And then just mound the dirt back up.
Just cover them back up. There's a fair amount of them. I mean, even if you pile these guys up, and they are elves, and they do not look. So when you start to take a look at these bodies, they're elves, and they do not look like they were ghouls or ghasts. These look like they were killed when they were still elves, and they are in various states of one, decomposition, and two, they are in savage. They have been in some cases segmented into eating pieces. Yeah.
Like you said, butchered.
Yeah, they were butchered. Yeah, in some cases, they've been eviscerated, and then the entrails are sort of stacked up. That's why the blood is so extreme. Is that they've been working on these bodies, eating some because it's obvious that there's a fair amount missing, but they've also been sort of like. What the vibe you get off of it is they're trying to figure out how to ration these dead elves so as to maximize their time.
Ick.
Les, you said there's a whole village that looked like they got up and left really fast.
Mm-hmm.
We should be able to find some kind of shovel or something up there.
There might be some tools, yeah. It may take an hour to sort of look around. Yeah, I think you would find some tools.
Yeah, we just find a shovel or something and then come down. So first thing's going to be to barricade that door. But then, then we just dig stuff, bury the bodies, let Poe say a word over him, let him heal with whatever magic he's got left, and then we'll just rest here and then continue again once all the casters have their spells back.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, you guys could certainly, it takes a couple hours to sort of dig up enough dirt to sort of cover all this. And you move some of the bodies into pile them up to make the job a little easier. But you do eventually get everything covered. You've basically piled these guys up into
a mass grave.
Yeah, sort of a mass grave. What about Avornia and Struviel? You put them in there with them?
What do you guys think? Do you think she really was?
I still think we should burn them.
Well, we're down in this area without probably much airflow, so I wasn't going to burn anything, but.
I mean, we can just take them up and dump them in the woods. It's on fire.
Yeah, it's on fire. That'll burn them.
That would work.
So yeah, I don't mind doing that if you guys would rather do that.
That's funny. That's funny. The advice from the priest, who's a professional, said, "Don't worry, they're just dead." But the superstitious half trowel you guys are listening to.
Yep.
That's why our world is the way it is today.
Let's see. Can I do a no, I would have no knowledge of this at all.
So what are you guys going to do? You're going to throw them in with the burial heap, or you're going to take the dead ghasts outside and feed them to the fire forest?
We do have a convenient huge fire right there.
That's true.
I don't care either way.
We might as well throw them on the fire just to be safe.
All right, you're just going to carry the pieces up?
Yeah, you know what? Fine. Gross, but all right, yeah. I'll do it. Sure.
And you wear white, Ono. That's
not anymore.
Yep. Nope.
I will.
He used to wear white.
I don't know. It seems unfit to let them just molder and rot. They deserve to be at least given a some sort of farewell.
You say some words over them as they are consumed by the fire?
Yeah, sure. I'll say happy trails. Good luck.
Happy trails.
I was just sitting back there shaking his head, saying, "Oh my god."
I don't know.
I'm tweeting that, by the way.
To be honest, there's probably lots of things that all of us do to make Poe shake his head a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, my deities are the eldest. They're all Fey gods, so it's all cool to me. Little dancing and singing is good idea.
So now the bodies and the undead bodies, they're dealt with, right?
Right.
Yes.
So have we rested yet, or is that still in the cards?
Still in the cards. What about this guy? This guy who gives every indication of being a priest, or maybe the priest of Anyariel.
Oh, I would have had done with him with the bodies.
He's in the bodies. He's in the bodies too. Okay.
The mass grave.
He would have been buried with his people.
Got it. Bloop, done.
Because based on the information that we have, it would seem to me more likely that these ghasts came and somehow inhabited this area and were picking off villagers. And at some point, this priest came down to deal with it and was unsuccessful. That's why he's so much less decomposed, because the villagers were picked off first. He came to deal with the situation and failed.
Well, I think it said that the mace or something can heal, and I think that's why he was less decomposed.
Could be.
It could also be that the gas couldn't get close enough to him, or didn't want to get close enough to him to eat him, because he had the holy stuff on him. So
yeah, that's possible.
But they said he was less decomposed, which means he's been dead for less time, which is why I think he came down to deal with the problem.
They weren't hungry enough to eat them.
Well, I don't know. They certainly. It seems that they give every indication that they killed him. They have not eaten him, and it looks like they sort of stuffed. Well, maybe they stuffed him up here, or that may be where he died. In between the sarcophagus and the statue. It does look like they were carving up the dead bodies into portions. Potentially to control those portions. She mentioned rationing food and how much she was hungry, and that when the hunger took over, they couldn't control themselves and all this kind of stuff, which all could have been bullshit. But, sometimes when you have these creatures, the lies and the justifications and the reality of their situation may merge and blend together. I mean, it's possible that she was telling a version of the truth.
Les, you missed your calling as a therapist.
Or a lawyer.
Yeah.
Aren't they the same?
Sometimes.
You would have made a good Matlock.
Okay.
All right, so you guys take them up, consign them to the flames, bury the rest of them down here, pile up the rocks. Everything seems pretty safe. Do you guys build a little fire or something down here? Maybe grab some fire from up top so you have some warmth, you can cook food, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We can try a small one and see if there's enough ventilation that it goes somewhere.
Actually, the roof of this cave is probably 12 to 18 feet high. So where there doesn't seem to be any smoke holes, a small fire won't smoke you guys out.
Okay.
The water in this area, too, seems to be pretty good. It's sweet tasting and does not seem to be filled with microorganisms either. So you'll, that kind of stuff. And it's nice and cold. Seems cold and clean.
About 50 degrees.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly colder than anything up top. I mean, you guys have just come over the White River. Your guess is, and I mean, I don't know if you guys are got any dwarves with you? Yeah. So, Poe, you're a dwarf, right?
Yep.
You got any
Vondrum, part dwarf.
Vondrum's a part dwarf. You guys got any underground lore skill or anything like that?
I have a ton of it. I have dungeoning skills.
Most of mine has been because I'm not a traditional dwarf. I didn't really live underground. So.
Vondrum, give me a quick roll on your underground dungeoneering skills.
Dungeon knowledge dungeon or knowledge engineering?
No, you have special.
Whatever you got a better score in.
Should be stuff.
I don't think I have any.
Praise, giants.
I don't think there's
Perception versus unusual stonework, trap, hidden doors. That's the So +2 perception, basically, for stonework.
Okay.
Or
Well, this isn't really stonework. This is more like dungeoneering kind of thing.
yeah, I just have the ability of dungeon and engineering. So just do how about stone mastery plus
That
6?
works too. Yeah, that'll work.
That one. All right. I knew there was one in there. Alphabetical. Scissors. All right, so now I'm browser. Oh.
19. Okay.
Yep.
Your guess, based on your experience being underground, knowing a little bit about stonework and things like that, is that the water that's contained here is completely separate from the water in the White River. This looks like spring. This is like an underground spring, whereas the White River flows towards the ocean. You're guessing even though you're very close to each other, you're guessing that they're two different water sources.
Awesome. Drink up, boys. Fill your flasks.
And it's quite cold. This water comes from deep underground. The ancient aquifers of the Mwangi expanse.
That's some high quality H2O.
Awesome.
But yeah, you guys seems you're going to set up watch or anything to sort of keep eyes out or anything like that? Or are you just all going to go to sleep at once right there in the middle of the
room? I'd say one of the non-spellcasters will stay up at a time.
Okay.
I will.
We'll let the...
I have very few spells left, but I don't know how everybody else is doing.
I don't have any spells left.
He's talking about taking watches and the one spellcaster staying up. I don't know if there's a spellcaster with.
No, he's saying spellcasters don't stay up. Spellcasters that are not.
No.
I'm sorry, Mike. Is that what you're saying? You don't want one spellcaster to stay up? You want them all to take a rest now?
I want all the spellcasters to rest all night, and then me.
Awesome.
Actually, yeah, me. So Arendar, Wraith, and Ono will take a 2 or 3 hour watch each.
Yeah.
I can do a watch too. You want to throw her in there? I'm not sure if do sprites sleep less.
Shouldn't we heal up Ono before he takes watch?
Yeah. Yeah, Poe will get rid of all of his healing before we rest.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What did you say, Gordon? What was the question?
I said, do sprites sleep? Fey creatures, do they sleep? I'm not sure if they.
Yeah, probably in the same region as elves, where they sort of it's like a meditation. Sprites, yeah, sprites, brownies, the small creatures of the forest, they definitely will sleep.
What happened to my method?
If she's not a
flying around upstairs, he's still he sort of took off when you guys ran into Indomitable and never came back.
Yeah, he bailed.
Oh, bastard.
Yeah, she's not a caster, Mike, so she can take a watch.
She can take a watch too. So it's just 2 hour watches then.
Cool. All right. So you guys passed the evening without any issue. The watches go smoothly. Nobody tests the door from the top. Nobody pushes the door in from the sarcophagus. It's a little funky in here because of the bodies, and there's a lot of light because, well, not a lot, but coming off of this guy. But yeah, you guys get the rest you need. And as far as you can tell, I mean, you're underground, so you're really not sure what time it is, but you think it's probably morning.
Okay, so I'm going to get with Poe.
Okay.
Because he apparently has some ability to figure this stuff out. And I guess we'll try to figure out about the door thing. Do you want to mess with that? You had a pretty high perception check on checking the door for traps before we blocked it off. Is that still valid?
Yeah, unless I had a 29 to check for traps on that before we threw rocks at it.
Didn't see any traps on the door. It does have some elvish runes on it that are carved into the back of carved into the stone, but they're faded so much that they're unreadable. But you can see that there are runes carved in it. They don't seem to be magical runes. It doesn't radiate any magic, and the opening mechanism, once you sort of take a closer look at it, is a lot more obvious than you suspected. It's clever, but it's not. It doesn't look like a trap.
Okay. Well,
it doesn't look locked either.
We'll gather everybody around and open it up.
All right, you guys go ahead and peel it back. You peel it back, and you're immediately hit by a much more verdant smell. Plants, fresh air coming from below. You see that there is a set of like almost a set of small steps that grow larger as they go through. You kind of have to like scooch in, especially those of you who are sort of bigger and wider than an elf. An elf could easily sort of kind of like pop in there. Those of you who are bigger than elves would have to like kind of like cluster around. But once you get in there, it opens. The sarcophagus isn't a sarcophagus. It's actually the cap on what looks to be a circular stone, very old sort of staircase that goes down about 20 feet. You also see the air coming out of there is quite, I mean, compared to the sort of weirdly decompy smell in this room, is fresh. It has a sweet sort of foresty smell to it, and there does seem to be some light coming up from down there. You're not sure what's radiating the light. You probably have to go in and sort of like start going down the steps to see what's going there, but there's sort of like a greenish white light that's coming through there. Honestly, for those of you who are elves, very pleasant. If it's a trap, it's a cunningly set one.
So are we going down this? Do you want me to go ahead and scout?
Yeah, I'll let you go scout, and I'll stay behind you in case trouble's, close by.
Okay. You're gonna slip in there and start going down the stone steps.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have Arendar stay about, I don't know, 10, 15 feet behind me so I can stealth.
Okay. What about the rest of you? Are you just gonna follow them, one after the other, or are you gonna wait for them to check it out before you go down there? For them to yell back, "It's safe," or "We're doomed," that kind of thing.
Or,
you guys gonna stay at the top?
Nobody stops to take the time to write. Oh, they just go. Oh!
The castle. Oh.
Bondurm's going to stay at the top. Everybody else will go down.
Okay. All right. So, Arendar and Wraith, you guys begin sliding through there and going down the stairs, and very quickly you begin to see something quite unusual. The stone, the stone steps go down about 20 feet into what looks to be sort of a much larger. What the hell happened to my mouse here? Everything's going haywire. It's like a stone grotto of sorts. It seems to be larger. There's more of the smell of verdant. You see moss on the stones. You actually see there are things growing here, and down below, sort of lit by some sort of unearthly light, you see a statue again of an elvish woman, a martial looking woman. In this case, she doesn't have her sword with her, but you can see her hair flowing down behind her. You suspect that this might be, when they refer to Anyariel's grotto, this may be the actual place that they're talking about. Can you guys see what I'm showing here?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys step forward and slowly make your way down to the bottom of the steps. That statue is probably 12 to 15 feet high, the one you're looking at there. So that gives you a sense of proportion as to what you're looking at here.
Huge elf.
Huh?
Man, she was a huge elf.
She's a huge elf. You can see it sort of like has these weird Gothic arches. And beyond that is what looks to be a much larger cave system. You can see a fair amount of lichen and moss growing on the stones here. There's unmistakable humidity in the air, a chilly humidity that you suspect is related to the water that you guys enjoyed last night upstairs. And as you approach, you begin on this sort of plinth here, you begin to see something materialize. And if my friggin' mouse will behave for like 2 frickin' seconds, I will actually be able to show you what is on the, for fuck's sake, what is going on? Do I really have to go get a new mouse? Really? All right, I gotta go get a new mouse. I will be right back.
Jeez. Huh. Yeah.
My evil plan to sabotage his mouse worked.
Indeed.
He'll never find the scotch tape on the bottom.
Next is my virus I put in there that makes all of his monsters roll like a 1. That's what we wanted to see.
See, there's a good shot to freeze frame. So this episode will be saved on YouTube as DM's crotch.
Wow.
Yeah, this doesn't look like a place where a ghast came from.
What's that? Just more wood. I think you got that at Safeway. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see if this does.
Nope.
See if this works better.
Hey,
yeah, very much better. Sorry about that. All right, so so you guys are stepping down there, and then you got Wraith, you and Arendar can hear the others as they sort of come down, and as you were doing that, a creature materializes on the plinth.
Really?
Test one, see if it's ready.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Say no creature, bad creature.
Ooh.
Oh, what the hell is that?
Poe, give me, you're knowledgeable about Fae. Give me a quick, do you have any sort of Fae knowledge or anything that you can apply to that?
Well, yes, he does, I'm sure.
I bet
Here
he
he
does
comes.
too.
I've got, would that be a knowledge nature?
Yeah.
What is it? It's like,
Oh, I got it. I don't have my icon, so I got to hang on. I got to figure out what it is.
Okay.
it's rough. You get used to your setup to game. Like doing it this way is rough.
It's anybody speak Sylvan?
I think I do. Hang on, only one computer.
Yeah, I speak Sylvan.
Okay. The creature says, as you're preparing to try and identify it, the creature says in Sylvan, "Who are you that dares to come to the shrine of Anyariel?" So Poe, as a 19, all right, so you've never heard of these creatures, you've never seen one of these creatures, but you've heard of when you were with the Fae, you heard speak of them in mostly very reverential tones of creatures called Galeys. And Galeys were these like super Fae that were, that transcend a lot of the idea of time and space when it comes to the old world. These creatures come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. They're typically considered to be immensely powerful,
and attack immediately,
and somewhat unpredictable, like all Fae. But they're essentially, the Fae equivalent of something like an Archon or a Celestial.
What did he say exactly? Can you say that again? What are you doing where?
He says it sort of calmly as he looks over at you, and he says, "Who are you that dare to intrude upon the shrine of Anyariel?"
Well, I'm ASMR, and I also speak.
You speak Sylvan?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Kind sir, we are on a mission to help the servants and folk of, what's her name?
Anyariel?
Anyariel, yes.
She is the least memorable name of all the semi-deities that we've dealt with. I feel your pain on this.
I was going to say Daria or Annabelle or something. We come here to honor her and protect her people. We have been sent by other elven kind to look after the forest. What kind of can we assist you, or you assist us?
Oh, is Faye Marks too, Les? He serves the elders, so
okay.
He would talk about that as well. Try to introduce himself as, you know, a servant of the elders, and say that we're here to help the elves above.
He looks at you both kind of curiously as you respond to him in Sylvan, not unkindly. I mean, he doesn't seem like aggressive. He just seems like he doesn't know who you guys and what you're doing here. So you guys basically say, look, we're here to help the elves of the Indomitable. You know, we're here to help the servants of Anyariel. And you and Poe, you say, look, you know, here's my bona fides as somebody who's associated with the Fae. I know of this. I have been to the Great Bazaar, you know, that kind of thing. And he looks very curious. He's like, where is Burisrava? And it's obvious the way he says it that it's a name. Where is Burisrava? Where is the priest of Anyariel?
I'll pull out his holy symbol and the mace and tell him where we found it.
Where exactly did you acquire those items? Are you murderers? Are you thieves? And now he seems to be growing upset.
We'll detail the room above with all the dead bodies and talk about the rites that killed them. Tell them that we killed the ones that probably killed his priest or his servant. I'm not sure who he is, but we did not hurt your priest. We found these items up above, and I took them with me so that I could hopefully find an elf who would be able to use them again, who serves.
You see him make a few passes in the air, and you immediately realize that some sort of magic has been cast. Tell me exactly how you came to find my friend Burisrava and retrieve his belongings and bring them here. And you can tell that those of you who have knowledge arcana or knowledge religion, give me a quick check.
Okie dokie.
How about knowledge fighter?
Not as helpful as you might think. These are some great rolls.
Yeah, hang on.
You're not sure what kind of spell occurred, but you find yourselves as you begin.
Oh, yeah.
Titus is closest. Titus, you believe that this creature essentially cast zone of truth around the whole within the whole grotto, or activated a zone of truth, because you find yourself, as you begin to speak, you find yourself unable to tell any sort of prevarication. Only the truth comes out of your mouths. Now you can remain silent, but that will tell him something as well.
Guys, it was me that farted last night and
we knew it. You blamed it on the guests.
So I recount our adventure of how we came down to the pit, how we did away with Elvira and her Slytherin husband, and we gave proper burial rites and the best we could to bury the elvish kind. And we happened to discover this stairway down. And again, we are trying to help the elven kind to deal with this burning fire, fell into a burning ring of fire. And here we are.
He doesn't seem at all, I mean, he recognizes the truth of what you're saying. So he seems irritated, but it doesn't feel like that he's irritated with you. He's like, this is terrible. Go ahead.
It was totally me.
It was you. It was him. He seems both irritated and saddened. One, you get the impression that he genuinely liked the elvish priest, and that they spoke often. So he says, I see the truth in what you have said. I ask you to do this to honor Burisrava and to honor Anyariel. Take Burisrava's idealized holy symbol, return it to his body, and take him to the White River. Float him in it. It will be a fitting rest for an elf of his prowess. Then you may take his mace, and do with it what you will. I trust that you will find an appropriate recipient for such a weapon that also aids in healing. Are any of you injured? And he sort of looks around to see if there's anybody who's hurt.
We're all healed up. I healed up last night.
Do this for Burasarva's body, and you will leave here with my blessing. I must go back into the place where I wait. Someday the Indomitable will be salvaged. Is the word he uses in Sylvan. It's a weird combination of words. And then my work will begin again. Leave this place.
Wait, before we go, I want to ask you something. Do you know anything about this trapped guy, the fire beetle?
I know nothing except for what goes on here in the shrine. I was tasked here by the elvish priests of Anyariel and Anyariel herself to stay here and provide safety and support to those who worship her and idolize her. And that is my position. I care not what goes on the surface. I care not what happens outside of this specific circular area.
Well, that's a shame because those fires are decimating the people who worship Anyariel.
That is sad for me to hear.
About the devil worshiper.
But there is nothing that I can do.
The devil worshiper caught us there.
The devil worshiper hobbits? He doesn't seem to. He didn't.
No,
you get
the Chilaxian.
In the cave, the Chilaxian.
Oh, the Chilaxian. He doesn't. He does know about that. So you ask him about that and say, "You have found Diashan, have you, Captain Diashan?" He came to us, a Chilaxian soldier, an oppressor, and came hoping to wreak violence and bring havoc to this region. But he was captured and brought to Burasrava, who spoke to him and made him understand what it was that he was doing. Captain Diashan turned his back on the ways of his people and joined with us. And he resides upstairs in waiting for the moment when he will be released to continue to begin the good works that he has sworn to do, to make up for all of the evil things that he has done in his past.
Should we release him?
I doubt neither you nor I have the power to release Captain Diashan. He will be released when it is his time, not before.
Okay.
Go now then. Care for my priest. Do as I bid, and you shall won't have any problems for me. Sorry, I'm not an actor. And then he sort of disappears again and goes back away, and you find yourself back in here.
So I guess all the rest of us are going to look at Poe and go, "What do you say? What do you say?"
Yeah, those of you who don't speak Sylvan are just like, "The hell was that all about? Titus Poe? You guys want to fill us in on all that?"
We didn't ask him where the White River is.
It's the river outside. It's the river that the over the bridge. It's the primary river. Yeah.
Yeah, we crossed that already. We know where it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Poe's going to say, "Get your shovels back out, gents."
What? Damn it! I've already got a callus.
I'm gonna get a blister. All right, so you guys go back upstairs, and I'm assuming fetch the priest's body out of the big pile.
I guess so.
Yeah,
all
seems
right,
that way.
All right, take him back upstairs into the fire village, and over to the river.
Put his holy symbol back on him, I guess. If Poe explains all that.
Yeah, Poe. I'm assuming. Well, you guys do that.
Sure. Yep.
Do you want to do a spellcraft check on that holy symbol before you do it?
Sure.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. We're not going to keep it. I'm not going to go against this.
I would say, do you really want to piss off the Uber Fey dude?
That's a good point. All right, so you're just gonna.
Wasn't he supposed to heal everyone? Looks like Poe and.
They just haven't added it. Everybody's healed back to max.
Okay.
Oh, because of the rest, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we're on a different screen, so that we're not healed on this screen.
No. This is just to go back to where the river. So this is just a greater view. You don't have to futz with these guys. But over here, you can see that this is essentially. I mean, I'm assuming you guys go down to the bank of the river with the body of Buddha Strava, and sort of
1, 2, 3, and then
off he goes. Well, so you see that when you guys float on it, you put the necklace back on him and sort of take him out there and you float him into the water. Well, something very strange happens. So he sort of like spreads out and he's floating in the water, and the water flows northeast. But you see that he sort of spins around and then begins floating southwest. And then as he passes under the bridge, going further and further, eventually you see him sort of go under the water and disappear. But he was floating against the current.
That's just weird.
Very.
Were the hobbits carrying him?
No, you killed those hobbits that were in there. You don't see any mad hobbits around here anymore. So it comes to this point. You guys now you've rested. You've checked out this village. This is the village that you suspect you were supposed to come to. Yeah, safe village. At this point, you have to remember what Indomitable told you, which was you have to go to the lake, yeah, which you guys know. So the White River, to a large extent, the White River connects to a large inland lake, which, if you're reading Indomitable's sort of wacky clues right, the idea is that somewhere on the shore of that lake is a Fey village where they are keeping him tracked. He mentioned 40 singers. You're not sure what that means, but theoretically, if you guys are going to continue to try and figure out how to release Indomitable and potentially stop some of the predations of the Fire Forest, it sounds like the way to go. Or you could try and get out of the Fire Forest, say to hell with this case, and just leave town and head into the Mwangi Expanse and try some new adventures.
Well, and originally we were supposed to be going to some wizard school, right?
The Lyceum, right. So the Lyceum is even beyond that.
It's through the Fire Forest.
Yeah, it's on the other side.
Yeah.
Right. To give them the plans that they've been waiting for.
So the lake is kind of on the way to the other side of the Fire Forest, right?
Yep.
Yeah. If we're already heading this direction, we might as well go ahead and do that and then continue on our way with the papers.
Now, see, that seemed to be the only question. It seemed like there was a time frame to get these papers to them so that they could respond to the military incursion, which I get we've got like these sort of side things that we've had to do, but at some point, if we dick around in the forest long enough, these military secrets aren't going to be secrets anymore. It's going to be the blitzkrieg they engaged last week.
Yeah, exactly. You guys, now, considering your exit from Gate Pass, it's only been, I'd have to check the thing, but it's only really been about a week. Yeah, 7 or 8 days. It hasn't been a long time. So Chuck, I think Rafe makes a good point. Is like there's a deadline on these things. We got to get it to the Lyceum, but you kind of made a deal with Indomitable as well, or at least Indomitable thinks you've made a deal with him, and then one thing you notice is if you start looking at paths that lead away from the Fey Village or the direction that you think the Fey Village is, you begin to see, if you start sort of looking down there, you can see these fire curtains, big walls of fire that sort of like interpose themselves across the forest. And your guess is that Indomitable is using those flame curtains to try and ensure that you guys meet your end of the deal. Like if you were to try and take this path, for example, this path here, which goes to the southeast, which would ultimately lead out of the Fire Forest eventually. If you go that direction, it looks like in the distance you can see that there are fire curtains sort of lining the area that seem to be moving, that may be in a position to interpose themselves and block your path if you guys head down that way.
So that's the tugging I feel on the hook in my nose. Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah.
And by the way, I made no deals with anybody. I'm chaotic. Hello, pirate.
Well, the problem is, I mean, Indomitable basically is looking at you guys and saying, hey, I think these are my guys. And they've pretty much, to his mind, your guess is that you've agreed to do this for him. He says, look, I will give you my blessing if you release me from this capture.
Okay, we get lots of blessings from people. We need to be asking for more.
Yeah, that so far I don't feel blessed by the faith. Yes. And now that we've floated his priest down the river, I don't feel suddenly healthier or stronger or none of it. So these people are paying an invisible currency.
Yes.
It's like crypto.
Yes.
Negotiate.
We got some Dogecoin from the badass Fae. All right. So I guess we need to head towards the village to try to free or figure out who's got him locked down. Yeah. So which direction is it to go towards the lake?
It's northeast. It's this direction.
Okay.
So along the river?
Yeah, you guys or in the river. I mean, there's a lot of burnt out areas to the river, and the river is low compared to. I mean, you can see along the banks of
the water in the river. Does it burn us to get in there, or is it?
No, it's a little steamy, but it's not going to boil you. It's not boiling. If you were to get in the river, it's probably along the lines of 70 to 80 degrees. There's a lot of dead fish.
Okay.
So in any of what's in this village, and I realize the fire forest is in full effect, are there any boats that have survived?
You're going to take a look around? Go ahead and give me perception.
Look around for canoes or anything that might be able to float that river.
Mm-hmm.
27.
27. Yeah, eventually, it's a little further away than you estimated at first, but you do find an intact boat about 100 yards downstream from the village. It's a little scorched.
Okay, we call dibs.
But it looks to be it's a rowboat, but you're going with the current. So I mean, it would be if you're going that direction, you're going with the current. So that might not be the terrible thing. And it does look barely big enough to hold all of you guys, all 8 of you.
And does it have oars with it?
It has oars. Yeah, there are oars next to it.
So if not, I'm keeping that shovel that we grabbed. This was like 3 times we need a shovel. So from now on, I'll put it on my character. I'm carrying a shovel.
You're gonna take one Elvis shovel.
One elven shovel.
Sounds good.
Well, Vandram does carry a light pick. We do have that tool too.
Okay.
Covered.
Also,
cool.
Second time in this campaign we've needed a shovel and haven't had one. So we found this one. I'm keeping it.
So
all right, awesome.
I'll call my big strong brother over to help carry this boat and get it to the water.
It's pretty clear. It's pretty near the edge of the water, so the two of you can easily sort of drag it. It seems to be in pretty good shape. Definitely, you guess, river worthy. It's not something you would probably want to take on an ocean, but there's no oceans around, so you guys seem pretty safe. There's a little bit of equipment in there, some nets. In various states of repair, fishing lines with hooks and the oars. Beyond that, there's it seems to be not very fancy.
Well, it seems to me if you want fish, you just pluck them off the top of the water.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd eat those fish.
Oh no, you don't eat that, but there's no need to be fishing for anything.
They're pre-cooked.
Yeah. Sous vide. All right, so you guys gather up and head down get in that boat and head down the river.
Yeah.
All right. It's a surreal trip as you guys begin moving down the river. You guys see fire to greater or lesser extents. Some places it looks like that the fires have already burned away everything that could possibly have burnt, and it's just a field of you pass fields of smoking ash. The river itself in some cases is filled with ash, lots of dead fish, dead animals. In some cases there are animals that you can see have come to the river and tried to either drink the water or tried to escape into the river, but were burned up before they could get there. So there's animal corpses and carcasses sort of at various points. It's not a pleasant place, but as you move northeastward, it does mellow out a little bit. The fire seems to recede a little bit from the river. There's less garbage in there. You reach over at one point, you reach over your hand into the water and you can tell that it's a little cooler. It could be that there's new sources of that of water flowing into or something like that, but it does seem to have standoffed the fire a little bit. Come around a bend. The White River has a lot of bends and turns in it, so you do a fair amount of. You have to pay attention. There's a fair amount of like ruddering with the oars and stuff like that you do. And as you turn one particular corner, standing about 200 yards away on the edge of the river, sort of on a little sort of grassy promontory, is standing a creature that you have seen before. He's tall, infernal looking, with a long beard that looks to be made of wire, and he's standing on the water and just sort of looking at you. And as you guys hove into view, he sort of waves, and you hear him cry out, "Hail, champions!" in sort of rough common. Welcome.
Isn't that the guy that threatened us last time?
Mm-hmm. Well, he tried to cut a deal with you. He basically said, "Give me the case, and I'll get you. I'll let you get out of here. I won't hurt you." You guys said, "Nah." You guys fought him a little bit, and then he took off.
Right.
Okay, I lean over to Wraith and say, "Whatever you want."
I don't think it's going to be any nicer an encounter this time.
No, I'm saying you can start attacking him right now.
Well, at this point, I don't think. Well, the bow's range it's 100 to the first increment, so I would be at a -1. So I think I'll wait till I get a little closer.
All right. So as you do that, I'm just going to put this in here real quick so we have something to look at in the thing. So you guys are heading up here. You're looking to get through here over to where the Lyceum is. But that lake is also, so the Lyceum sequin is on that lake that you think the Fae place is. Anyway, you reach out and he's like, whoa, put your bow down, Mr. Wraith. I have no quarrel with you. It is sad that we have to meet in such a vile place and under such cruel conditions. You were fleeing Gate Pass under the descending fist of the Chilaxian Empire of the Sargavans toward a temporary safety. But you and I both know that Sargava won't let you escape as easy as that. But we don't have to come to blows this time about it. He actually points to this thing, and there's around his neck. You can see he takes this one gnarled finger, and he sort of looks at it, and he shows off an iron collar. I, too, am one of the Sargavan dogs, leashed and collared by one of their inquisitors. I am bound to their letter, but I bear them no respect. You, though, you have my respect. You fight well, I've seen. I have no desire to throw more lives than is necessary, particularly not my own, and I share with you the desire to escape this place as soon as possible. I think we can work together, find a way out of this filthy wood. As nice as it is for me, I do not think that you like it so much. Do I have your ear? Are you interested in perhaps something akin to an alliance?
Okay, you're not channeling Lothar, right?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm all about deals. This isn't Lothar.
I'm all about deals with devils now.
One's coming down.
Oh.
I know of Indomitable as well, and I know what he seeks. I can help you to get what he seeks and release him.
Well, why don't you just get it yourself then for him?
His blessings mean nothing to me. As long as I am bound to a scourge inquisitor, I can accept no gifts from a creature such as he. But I have no wish to stay here.
So where's the Scourge Inquisitor? Tell us where the Scourge Inquisitor is, We'll go eliminate him, and then you can take off.
Oh, he is back in his palace in the town of the Sargavan town, which name escapes me because I don't have the PowerPoint up to look at the maps. But you know what the town that I speak of.
All right. Had to try.
I understand. I would do the same if I was you. If you're willing to talk, here's my plan. To fulfill the conditions of my summoning and free both me and you guys from Indomitable's thing, we go to the lake, silence the songs of the wicked, twisted fae who live there. The Sila, the fae that live there, they are horrible, twisted creatures, driven to violent madness by the pain of the forest burning and their devotion to keeping Indomitable here. I pledge to you right now that I will help you in this fight, and I will let you go peacefully once indomitability is free and the forest has burned itself out. You should be safe in the lake bed for the day it will take for the fires to die.
I want to do a sense motive.
Yep.
And I will, of course, need the case.
This guy's a devil, right? Not a demon?
He's a devil. So Titus, this sounds like a pretty good deal to you. Wraith, you're a little concerned. You get the impression that he's being honest, but you're also quite knowledgeable of the fact that it is a devil. And so while devils are lawful and they tend to be, sort of the letter of the law types, as opposed to demons, which are just like, whatever we want to do, we're going to do. They're a twisty bunch, but it does sound like that he's telling the truth, that he will help.
I cannot make a deal with this.
The catch?
Well, the catch is he wants the case. It's what he wanted before. It's going to be the same catch for any offer of assistance that he provides. He was summoned to get the case by whoever this Sargavan clown was or is. So we're always going to end up back at that point.
Okay. We call him out on that.
It is what I've required. It is what is required of me. It is the burden that I bear. And believe me, I take no pleasure in it.
I have a question.
Sure.
What specifically were you required to obtain?
The case and I was to retrieve the case from you. Simple as that. And return it to the city that I still don't know the name of.
So then if we take all of the papers out of it, put it into a different satchel and give you this case, your requirements are fulfilled, yes?
I like the way you think, Sir Wraith. Perhaps we can come to an arrangement. This might indeed work. I would have to have some sort of assurances, something that would allow me to make sure that it would fulfill the requirements of the restrictions of my summoning. Perhaps a portion of the documents.
Well, no, from what you just said, the restriction of your summoning was that you were to retrieve the case.
You understand
and only
that
the case.
You understand that I am not in a position to leverage this. I am under the control of the Scourge. They define the terms, not me. But I think we can put one past them. Slip one past the goalie, as you will, as we say in the hells.
Hockey exists in hell, but okay.
Hockey is the finest sport in Avernus.
It would seem the need for an ice pit would be a problem, but whatever.
Well, we have cold places and hot places in the thing. It's not all hot. I mean, come on, it's a whole plane. We can have everything.
Yeah, I've been to a St. Louis winter. I know what cold hell feels like.
Oh my goodness.
St. Louis is nothing. St. Louis is like springtime in the islands compared to Chicago.
I was going to say, I've also been to a Chicago.
Yeah,
winter,
I know. You know it.
All right. So
he's like, I like your idea. We can make it. I think we can make it work. But let's get an agreement in general put together so that we know who's on what side.
Well, like I said, my idea would be to take all of the stuff that's important to the Lyceum out of the case and put it in a backpack or put it in somebody else's whatever. And then we have the case that he's after.
Perhaps there would be some documents in there that are not
I'm okay with even leaving a document in there. Just look through and read something that doesn't seem like it's got numbers or something that's not very helpful. And that way,
or how about if we take some of the documents and rescribe them on a piece of paper with inaccurate, important information. So it looks like the documents, but instead of something being in the north, it's now in the south.
Introduce errors.
Yes.
I like the way you think. And the devil likes to, and he says, my name is Kazyk, and I am a devil of the bearded kind. And he sort of rattles his beard. It's all metal and crazy. It's like, I know your name, so don't feel like we must stand on ceremony. But I like the way you think, Mr. Conundrum. Excellent idea.
Very well. Are there any other terms to your deal?
None whatsoever. None that we can't certainly iron out the details of once we reach the Fey village and destroy them.
And I actually have another question.
Of course. Ask away. I am all answers tonight.
If he knows, which he may not since he's summoned, is their interest in the military secrets or your summoner? Is his or her interest in the military secrets, or is his or her interest in the magical secrets of why teleportation is failing in Gate Pass?
I have only heard him speak of the military secrets. They are apparently outline quite a bit of their maneuvers and their overall general plans. Some of these documents, it appears, at least from their reaction and the way they discuss these things, appear to be quite damning from the point of view of what their eventual aims are, which I believe is to move very expeditiously once Gate Pass has been taken, which it effectively has been, is to move directly into the Mwangi and take the fight to the Mwangi themselves and take over the two city states that currently are nearest the Sagavan border.
So
would be a flagrant violation of several different treaties that they have enacted.
But isn't all that information something that your summoner should already have?
They do. What they don't want is for the Mwangi to have it.
So then the question then becomes not necessarily scribing it over with inaccuracies, because they already know what their plans are. It would just be to basically duplicate them so that they believe that nobody else has them.
I see your point, and it is an excellent one. The duplication would resolve both of our issues: your obligation to Miss Torrent to bring the documents to the Lyceum, and my obligation to my summoner to retrieve them.
Excellent.
So now time for our magic user people. How are there spells, or what's the ability to copy all of the information so that it can still be taken in both places?
Well, I am literate.
Well, yeah, but my guess is that if you were to sit down and try to rewrite all that stuff, it would take days.
Well, I think the thing then is to find the salient pieces that would be violating the treaty. We can ask our newfound possible ally which ones violate their agreements and copy those.
This is all hearsay that I've learned. What, being proxemic to the Scourge Inquisitors, I don't. Though I speak the language of Golarian, the lingua Golaricana very well, I'm not much of a writer. If you were to show me these documents, I doubt that I could make heads or tails of them.
Well, and again, they already know what their military strategies are going to be. So if they get an incomplete list of these things, of these documents back, they'll know that there's stuff missing. And maybe it's not the damning material, I don't know. But so I'm thinking, and this is just everybody else, feel free to chime in. I'm thinking if we can't duplicate all of it to make them believe that they have the original and that there are no copies, then I don't know that it would necessarily work. Because whoever summoned this guy can't be stupid.
Right. You're making good points. I don't know. How would we copy him?
Titus, your experience, I mean, you've never...
Some zero copy of our butts and just leave those in there.
Is there like a Kinko's
right.
around here that we can just go run them through the high volume copier?
I
we're not
can
gonna sit on the
summon
Well,
a.
there's a Kinko's FedEx a couple of miles down the river, but it's run by devil worshipping hobbits.
Well, all
Well, I
Kinko's
believe I
FedEx are
can
run by
summon
devil worshipping
copier.
hobbits. That's not the point.
All Kinko's are run by them. What are you talking about?
I can summon copier level 1, so so it can only do about 3 pages a minute.
Yeah, so we get something off a Wish, and it it copies 3 pages a minute and then jams permanently. Damn it!
It's a bad day at the office.
If it matters, it's so there's essentially 2 types of documents in there, and I'm sure that you guys have gone through it at a couple of occasions. Basically, there's a fairly substantive folder filled with what are considered to be the Sargavan military secrets. It outlines troop deployments. There's maps. There's there's receipts, exchanges of this money went to here to pay off these guys. We've got our agent, lists of agents in the Mwangi cities that are already in place. Because remember what happened to Gate Pass? It was like everything was fine, and then suddenly the Sargavans were there, right? And there was all these there was a lot of internal kind of agents that were creating havoc while the Sargavan infantry was besieging the actual front doors, while at the same time you had Sargavan sympathizers on the Gate Pass City Council who were debating with loyalists to say, we should just let him in. And eventually the sympathizers won, and you guys will remember they threw open the gates to the Sargavan military. And that's right around the time when you guys got out, because everybody was like, the Scourge is going to they're going to be looking to lock down every arcane magic user in this place, because that's what they do. They don't like magic users. So you guys were like, well, we have a couple of different magic users in our party, so we need to get out of here. And that's when you guys kind of escaped, is when essentially the Gate Pass political elite let in the Sargavans and essentially capitulated and gave the city over to them.
Yeah. And so basically, sort of the out of character thing, there's a first level bard sorcerer wizard spell called Copy that lets you copy 10 pages perfectly.
Really? Okay. I'm guessing in the documents that relate, the documents that relate to military things, there's probably 80 to 100 different pages. Then you have another set of documents, which are more arcane documents and scholarly documents. You're not sure how they got in here, but essentially they're a scholarly investigation of the regional magic conditions that are creating problems for teleporting. Remember, you can't teleport. Nobody is having successful teleport. People are exploding when they get, when they do teleports. They're dying.
Well, hang on.
And there was a fair amount of talk about that.
Downstream. So what are the consequences? So we give him the case, which could fulfill his obligation. We could throw in a few papers to make him feel better. So by the time they get it, what are the consequences of them knowing that there are still documents outstanding? How would that make us any worse off than we are now?
Yeah, I think it would just be, the devil could finish his job, whatever he was summoned to do. But
right.
If they look at it and say, oh, there's nothing in here, they probably do another summoning and probably send another something to
well, keep in mind also that a bearded devil has certain immunities that allow him to not blow up if he teleports. So he's sort of immune to the conditions that are precluding fleshier creatures from teleporting around, if that makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
Well, he's immune to fire. And whatever's going down with teleport, the arcano-climatological conditions that are causing problems with that, it's fire related. People blow up.
Okay.
So can the mages take and do like resistance to fire and fire protection and then teleport?
Potentially.
My character wouldn't have said that because he knows nothing about that kind of stuff. My character would be saying, sure, doing that whole teleport crap.
That's weird.
That's weird.
We missed a lot. We missed a lot of that.
Yeah.
I didn't hear much of what you said. You've still got a bandwidth issue. I can barely hear you.
Type it.
Bandwidth issues.
Okay, I heard that last word just fine.
So,
Yep,
I mean, what if we just send the case back with papers that are ruined with water? You know, like he got the case, he didn't know the papers were ruined. You know, he didn't open it, but we know that they're ruined. They could have been what they were after, but they're not.
So we just have to get some papers and throw in there and then.
Yeah. Like he fulfilled his task, but he never opened it. So how was he to know that the papers were already ruined because of their adventures, you know, through the wilds?
Or if I were to have killed you, perhaps part of that doom would be something related to the river or the Sealy Lake,
right?
Which could result in damage to the papers themselves. The Sargavans, especially the Scourge, are a vituperative lot, though. They may or may not allow me to return to my home plane, which is all I desire, should the things be damaged. But they would be assured, theoretically, that if the documents were damaged, that they wouldn't fall into the hands of the Mwangi.
Yeah, they don't care about what's on them because they already know that stuff. They just want to make sure that no one else gets them.
Right. So it'd be a ruse.
Could work.
Everything we do could work. Maybe.
I might potentially be able to convince them that your demise resulted in some damage to the papers as I was retrieving the case.
Worth a shot. Just in case.
Would you still be seeking to copy them and then damage the originals? They would be able to magically tell if they were the originals rather than duplicates.
Do we have the information, or at least the critical information, memorized?
I mean, if we all sat down and copied them by hand, I'm sure there's a set number of days, you know, that we could accomplish that in. Might be ridiculous, but
I don't know. You're talking, well, so the some of the scholarly treatises, some of it is in magical language. It would require Titus or Poe or you to copy it. The rest of them, the rest of the documents, the military documents, are in common, which I assume almost everybody is literate from the point of view of reading and writing, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So theoretically, it's possible. I mean, how long would it take to copy 100 pages worth of military documents? I mean, there's probably stuff on them. A couple of days, max?
There's 7 of us, right? 6 of us? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us? 6.
6, I believe. Wait.
I mean, I think that could be done as long as we could get our hands on paper. That might be the hardest thing.
We don't have to write on paper. There are copies. We can write on anything.
How about we write on your butt?
If you can write that small, you go right ahead.
What the
tattoo though? We'd have to tattoo it.
The spell you mentioned before, Andrew. There is a spell that allows you to copy documents.
I think that was Chuck that mentioned that.
Yeah, but the issue is it's bard, sorcerer, wizard, so it would have to be known.
Okay.
None of those are caster types that can just ask for whatever. I don't know if there's a priestly spell that does it.
Well, priests were always copying manuscripts.
What was the name of the spell? Do you remember?
Copy.
Okay. They must.
Where did they come up with the name of that?
Guy who
they went completely left with that one. I don't know.
The guy who named the orange came up with that idea.
Which came first, the orange or the color?
Bard or wizard? Yeah, you're right. It doesn't look like it is any sort of divine spell.
Yeah, I'll try. I'll see what I can find.
Here we go. Scrivener's Chant. Bard, Cleric. It's a cantrip. The spell imbues a quill with animate energy and rapidly transcribes words from one page to another. The quill copies a written work at a rate of 1 normal-sized page per minute.
Wow.
Linguistic skill can be used to make a convincing copy, but otherwise the reproduction is written in the hand of the caster. You must concentrate on the material being duplicated for the spell's duration and provide new blank pages as required. Scrivener's Chant requires blank paper and a quill or other writing materials in addition to the material components of the spell, which are fine sand and a vial of ink. It is a cleric cantrip. But the problem is getting a hold of 100 pieces of parchment. Or 120 pieces of parchment to copy it over to.
60 would work.
We're heading towards it. Isn't there a city on this lake?
Well, there's a Sealy village or a Fey village that you guys are going to where Kazyk is like, that's where the Fey are that are controlling Indomitable. I need to get rid of Indomitable. You guys need to get rid of Indomitable. Let's work together on this. Then he says the Sequin is the name of the city. And it is also, but it's on the other side of the lake. That's where the Lyceum is.
But do we have a wizard in the party?
Oh, but it's not on the lake. It's further down on the river. This map is wrong. Sequin is not here. It's more like here. At this junction of the two rivers.
Do we have a wizard in the party?
Titus, right? Titus is a wizard.
Yes.
So how many pages are in a standard spell book?
I didn't know there was a quiz. I don't know.
That's a great.
I need my blue book.
Because if we have a wizard, chances are he's got books and papers and things of that nature. And if we use his spell book, we just get him a new spell book.
Wait, I'm a sorcerer.
You're a sorcerer?
Yeah, he's a sorcerer.
Never mind.
Yeah, no, we need a wizard. Or if we have a wizard. Because
We're
sorcerers...
a wizard.
What's that?
Didn't
I'm an evoker. So evoker
the dude and his daughter that are traveling with us?
Yeah, he's got a spell book.
Hmm.
How many blank pages?
All right, so here we go. Composition. Spell book. Spell books and scrolls are measured in quires, which are 4 sheets of paper folded to create 8 leaves. Each leaf then has a front and a back page. Therefore, a quire equals 16 pages. 20 quires form a ream, which is equal to 320 pages. A page is considered to be blah, 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 blah. A written cantrip requires half a page. 32 cantrips would fill an entire quire. A book with large leaves and pages would still measure in standard quires. Because actual book sizes can vary, spellbooks are always described by how many quires. So I will roll a D8 to determine how many quires Haddad's spellbook has, and a D4 to determine how many he uses, how many are filled. That sound legit?
Sure.
All right, so let's see how many he has. Ooh, okay, so 8 quires, which in this case would be a quire equals 16 pages. So 8 times 16 is 80, 48, 128.
128 pages, which is enough.
And then how many pages he uses? 2 quires, which would be 32 pages. So you would have a total of 96 pages blank available from Haddad. He is going to bitch a blue streak about having to give up his spellbook.
Oh, we don't care at all, actually. Like not even a tiny bit.
Can't we use front and back? So we only need 50 pages?
Well, no, that includes front and back. So they're considered. So yeah, spellbooks and scrolls are measured in quires. 4 sheets of paper folded to create 8 leaves. Each leaf then has a front and a back page. So a quire equals 16 pages. So it's already included in that.
Got it.
And if you're an evoker, that's a wizard class too, right? So you have a spell book?
I don't have a spell book.
Oh, okay.
And how many pages are in the case?
80 to 100 of military secrets. So let's just do that. So let's roll that. So hold on a second. So of military secrets, let's do it this way. 94 pages of military stuff and another 60 pages of magical stuff. Now, here's the other thing, though. At no point has anyone talked about the magical stuff as being in the case. You're not sure why it's there. You're not sure where it came from. Torrin didn't know where it come from. It was, remember that guy, River Eye Buggerface or whatever the hell his name was, the gnome. Badgerface. He had brought the case, and ostensibly when you guys acquired it from him, it contained only Sargavan military secrets. He had worked for the Sargavans, and stole the documents, brought them to Gate Pass, and now was transferring them to Torrent. Torrent ostensibly was hiring you guys for protection to get the case to the Lyceum, but things went sideways. So maybe you don't have to copy the magical stuff, the 60 pages of magical stuff.
Yeah, let's take that. And how much? So it's 94, and we've got enough to copy how many pages?
96.
So we've got enough to copy all of the military secrets.
And then just take the magical stuff, and we're good to go.
Yeah.
You got quills and stuff or anything like that? Ink?
And prick our fingers.
You're gonna write it in blood.
Vandam's going to have it. I'm a wizard. I just thought that it wasn't a spell book.
I've got a shovel.
Can you guys hear me?
I've got a shovel.
Yeah, I can hear you, Jen. What'd you say?
Yes.
I said the evoker is a wizard. I didn't realize I had a spell book. I have a really hard time keeping the different type of magic users separate in my brain. So I would have a quill. Yeah. And I would have pages also.
Okay.
Yeah, because Vondi's not a spontaneous caster. Vondi's a wizard.
Yeah.
So has a spell book, has all of the stuff to scribe and all that kind of stuff.
Just doesn't have the memory to remember she's got to do that.
Right. We would need Poe to request the priest spell, the priest cantrip, and then in basically 20 minutes, all of the military secrets could be copied into this book. We take the magic stuff, we put the originals of the military secrets in the case, and we can give it to this bearded devil so he can go get his freedom after he helps us.
Agreed.
I don't like to make a deal with a devil.
See why you guys didn't like this so much. This making deals with devils is awesome.
We asked him if he's got any buddies that we can make deals with too.
and oh no, welcome to Lothar's life.
Yes.
So is there a place that we could conveniently sort of pull off and rest long enough for our resident cleric to request that particular cantrip?
Absolutely. And he's like, I'm sorry, go ahead. Sorry, Jennifer.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have to rest again. I would say, did we just rest? But he's got to rest again to get access.
He's got to get that spell because he probably is not carrying it. It's not something you would have thought of. So, but it sounds like you have the materials. And it says a minute per page. So we're talking about 94 pages. So an hour and a half.
Yeah.
To sort of scribe it all. Now it will use up every piece of paper, every drop of ink that you guys have to get this stuff taken care of.
In this one
book, yeah.
Right. So we might be out of ink and the quill might be a little frazzled, but it's not going to hurt Vondi's spellbook at all.
No. Yeah, no. Just it would take probably, which he is very unhappy about, and he's like, when we get to the Lyceum, I'm going to explain to them what you did here, and blah blah blah. There's going to be repercussions. I'm telling you that right now, and you can see, Kazyk is just like this fucking guy. So Kazyk essentially comes to you guys. So you guys pull the boat over and begin to make camp, that kind of stuff. Kazyk walks forward and is like, so then, do we have an agreement?
Well, I haven't heard the whole agreement laid out yet. You want to tell us what it is?
I will assist you in the destruction of Indomitable and the reduction of the problems associated with the Indomitable forest. In exchange, I will be able to take a copy of the documents in the case back to my summoner, which will procure my release, and I can speed back to the Hells. In doing the release of Indomitable, I swear to you on the name of the highest devil in Avernus, begins with an A, that I dare not say, but I swear to you that I will not hurt or molest you in any way during the course of this action, that we will be effectively allies, and I will require that you do not try to attack or try to kill me in any way. Are we agreed?
And just to amend this, we planned on giving him the originals, and we're keeping the copies, right?
Yeah.
That way, if they have any ability to determine if those are the original pages, it's successful.
Yeah, it's legit.
And we're going to have basically this guy's spell book with everything we need in it.
Yep.
I'm good.
What's the name of that spell, Les?
Scrivener's Chant. Scrivener's Chant.
Okay. And Ono's over in the corner looking a little green around the gills.
No, fine. You know what?
It's like that Buster Scruggs thing with the rope around neck. First time?
Okay. At least he's lawful.
You guys, when you guys say we agree, you could hear this sort of disembodied voice. It's not his. You hear this disembodied voice sing out sort of, above you and say, "It is so logged."
It's a little ominous.
Did we just sell our souls?
No.
Oh, just a little deal to help a guy out. You're helping a bearded devil out. You never know. You run into this guy later on, he's going to be on your side. He's going to be like, "I remember you guys."
Okay. Rent with an option to buy or lease or something like that, maybe, but yeah, definitely didn't sell.
Nah, souls don't enter into it. If he was trying to obtain your post-death spirits, well, that would certainly be part of the contract, and it is in no way was mentioned or brought up. It's not something that he wants or needs.
No. So
Okay.
He has very specific things that he needs to get done. You get the impression that he has somewhat obligated himself to Indomitable as well. And so he's like, "Hey, two heads are better than one. Let's do this Indomitable thing as a corollary to it. I hope you guys fix this thing. You give me the copy of the case. You guys take the copy. We end around this. Everybody's happy."
All right.
So it's a win-win, as we say in Avernus.
Fine.
Avernus and car dealerships around the United States.
What do we say in advertising? We say this is a conflict of interest, or as we like to say in advertising, synergy.
Okay, so we take the time, set up camp, whatever.
He's like, "I will meet you." He's like, "I got other shit I got to do, but I will meet you." The big lake is about 20 miles downstream. Just head there. You can't miss the Fae thing. The Faes are everywhere. You can't miss them. I will meet you guys there. You have my word as a lawful devil.
Okay, I'll set up watches.
Let's do that.
And he disappears
while Poe does his priestly thing. I'm sorry, what?
I said we have time. We might just keep moving, and at the end of this day, I can memorize it and do it first thing in the morning or whatever. No point in stopping.
That's where we're supposed to go, and then rest.
Yeah.
Because we're all full up right now. It'd be kind of a waste of time to do it now.
Just want to keep moving down the river.
Yep. Get where we're going.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you guys keep going down the river, and again, it seems like that the forest doesn't encroach as close to the river. There may be some magic that's protecting it. The temperature of the river is a little better. Certainly, the quality of the maps that your DM is going to use are going to not indicate a lot of fire and stuff like that, because of the limited amount of fire forest maps that are available online for free. It is a windy river, goes a long ways, various kinds of places. You go for another 2 or 3 hours. You're making your way down there. You're making good time. You're probably going a couple, 3 miles an hour. And you turn around one bend as you guys are moving through there, and you hear what sound like wisps of song emerging above the sound of the fire forest. It sounds like somebody is singing in some sort of like minor key. It's very mournful, but with a discordant trace of hope in the voice, an oral melody that sounds something like from the swallowing depths of an endless dream. For a moment, you think you see images of tragedy and history at the edge of your vision when you listen to this music, but then your attention snaps back to the real world as you realize that the song is real and the singer quite close. You turn down the river and come around a bend, and it comes into view. You can see where the song's coming from.
And there stands Sarah McLachlan.
And there stands Sarah McLachlan. The arms of an angel.
With pictures of starving puppies and kittens.
Puppies and kittens. It's all disgusting. You guys are down here in this boat. It's quite crowded, but everybody's in there, and you guys are kind of moving on the river. You kind of passing, and it looks like there was a bit of another abandoned village here. There's some destruction. You don't see as much fire because, again, the maps are, they are what they are, the available maps. But you do see what looks to be a creature sitting on the edge of a broken bridge, dangling her feet off over the river and singing. She is singing away, and as you guys sort of approach in the boat, she sort of looks over, and you can see that when she sees you, she lifts off of the bridge, and you can see behind her are she's like in the air, and she has like a set of kind of dragonfly wings, I guess. She's about the size, a little smaller than an elf. Certainly, she's got bright red hair, and she's sort of hovering over the broken bridge as these dragonfly wings sort of go berserk. And this is what she kind of looks like.
Bright red hair, fire.
Green hair. In this
you said
case,
bright red. I'm shooting.
Did I say red hair? I meant green hair. She's got green hair.
She's just trying to scare you. He was.
I was just trying to scare you, see what you do. But yeah, and so she calls out. If you guys are making your way down the river, she calls out, "Who are you? Where are you going?"
Oh, okay.
Your voice drew us to you. It is beautiful.
She sort of you could see, she sort of zips around a little bit, and you can see. Are you speaking? She spoke in Common. Are you speaking in Common or Sylvan?
I don't know. Let's see. What am I speaking in? I would be speaking in.
In Common?
Other way. Up, and Common. Yeah, I could be speaking Common.
Okay. So she talks to you in Common. She's like, "Well, who are you? What are you doing here?" And you said, "We heard you singing, and we were attracted. We were attracted to it. We wanted to find the singer." And it's hard to kind of tell, but it's obvious that she's kind of pleased by this. She's like, "My name is Tiljan. I see that you are not of the forest. You are not Fey. Well, some of you have a touch of it, and those in the front are elvish. And you, sir, are a celestial." As she looks at Titus, "I know of these things. I've never met any, but I know of these things. Where have you come from? Why are you on the White River? Do you not avoid the fire forest like all of the creatures like you?"
Well, we're not here by intent. We're working to get home.
Where's your home? Is it this direction? Perhaps I can help you.
I suppose it is this direction, right? In our opinion, yes. We're heading to the other end of the river.
The river. Well, then you are on the right place. If you follow this river to the bank, are you going to the human city? The human town at the converse of the two rivers?
I did not know of the human town.
I think
don't
that
know
would
of
be the
human town.
Lyceum.
Oh, that would be Lyceum. Oh, yeah, that's exactly where we're headed. Yes.
So you remember, so the Lyceum is the name of the school. The town in which it resides is a town called Sequin, which is at the confluence of two rivers, the White River and then another river. I don't have the name of it in front of me, but I'll get it for you. That goes sort of across. It's at the confluence of those two rivers on the other side of the fire forest. It sounds like that's what she's referring to.
I'll say that's exactly where we're headed. How far are we?
Oh, it is many miles. I've never been to the human city. I live with my cousins and neighbors in at our village on the Great Lake. But our village is a sad place. You don't want to go there. I think you should stay on the White River, and eventually you will reach the confluence.
Is there anything we should be wary of?
Wary? Just avoid the problems of the fire forest. It is dangerous to creatures like you. We have grown up here, so we know how to accommodate ourselves to it. But I know that humans and elves and celestials sometimes run afoul of the creatures of the fire forest and find themselves in dire straits.
Oh, that is not our intent.
Yeah, you just see when you ask, is there anything we should be aware of? She'd be like, whatever you do, don't ever talk to a devil or make a deal with him.
Do you know Kazyk? Don't ever speak with him. He's a mean one. About that time, you guys, so the boat moves a little further and you guys are sort of like trucking around here. I'm assuming you've slowed the boat so you can have this conversation, that you're still probably in the river. But you haven't
it's not that deep. We can just take the oars and
sort of like ship them a little bit. And so I'm gonna assume you get down to about, whoops, you need the boat too, don't I? Hold on a second. You guys just can't leap into the water.
And I'm going to kind of look over at Poe, since I know he has experience with this Fae stuff, and sort of just quietly ask you, is there something that we need to like plug our ears, or is there something we need to do to protect ourselves from this creature?
I know what kind of creature this is.
Give me a knowledge check. Anything Fae related?
Sounds like a game show question.
I can't click on my character.
It's on measure. It's on measure.
Oh, is it on measure?
Mhm. Yikes.
11?
That was Vondram. That wasn't you.
Oh, that was Vondram? Okay.
Sure looked like Vondram. It said Vondram.
Eric's got a bad feeling about this.
Oh.
Lorelai might know too, Les, though. She's here.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, no, probably gets those a lot hanging around this party.
There's a reason he's 19 years old and bald.
Yeah, and he looks down at his once white monk garments and things. And I still have ghast blood on me from carrying a dead ghast up a 20-foot iron ladder and throwing it into a fire, because I've never had to do this kind of stuff at the monastery.
Lorelai can't do it.
Lorelai didn't have any knowledge skills, so I mean, if she knows it, it's just because she knows it. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So, Poe, did you do a knowledge, or no? Not at all.
I did a knowledge planes.
Planes is going to help you here. Knowledge nature, maybe, or it's more sort of druidic nature. Poe, you definitely
Arcana and religion.
Yeah, neither of those are going to help you here, I don't think. Poe and Vaughn, Poe especially, Poe, you definitely recognize that this creature is some sort of fae. You're not sure precisely what kind of creature that is. There are a lot of different faes that have siren songs and things like that. There are a lot of different faes that for whom singing enacts a certain type of magic that can manifest in different ways. Dryads and naiads, for example, do. You guys are rolling great today. Dryads and naiads have songs that they can use that sort of lure men to their deaths and things like that. Fairies and brownies are known to sing spells and things of that nature. You're not precisely sure what kind of creature this is, but it's probably in that vein.
I'm going to send Lorelei to talk to her.
All right, Lorelei flies over there. As Lorelei's flying over there, you immediately get the sense of Lorelei sort of like looks over to the right, and you see another creature, in this case, walking towards Tiljan, who is this creature right here. So Lorelei flies over there, I'm assuming, and then you see this guy here, who's walking toward. Hold on a second. Walking toward Tiljan. So it looks like a owl, only in the body of a man. So it's walking. It's 2 arms, 2 legs. It's about 5.5 feet tall, but like with an owl's fur, like feathers and that kind of stuff, and an owl's face. And it walks over and it says in a very calm voice, "Tiljan, now then, we have no need to involve humans or other non-Fae in our business. You know this." And he steps forward. She sees him and sort of flies backwards. So she got those dragonfly wings and she sort of flies back. She's like, "Vul, what are you doing here? Well, you're not even supposed to be here. Why are you even here? Shouldn't you be back at the village singing to ensure that to ensure that the creatures and she uses a word that you don't get, and the word she uses is trilith. It's a Sylvan word of some kind, but you're not sure what it means. Shouldn't you? And she's speaking in Sylvan, so only those guys who speak Sylvan understand what she's saying. She refers to this guy as Vul, which you suspect is his name, and she says, "Shouldn't you be back at the village singing the trilith to sleep?" And he says to her again in Sylvan, "Tiljan, you know that singing to the trilith has kept our village in bondage for decades. For longer than any one of us care to remember, it is time we stopped. You know this." And she's like, "If we stop, it will release it. It will release it and it will destroy everything." And he goes, "It will not. That is simply mythology. If we have been tricked, we have been told to sing this creature to sleep, and we have done so loyally and without recourse for so long. It is time our village returned to its original path and stop this madness." She's like, "No, you'll destroy everything." You see Vul kind of look around, and he says in Sylvan, "You know what you must do." And you get the impression that he's not talking to Tiljan at this point, at which point you see, actually, everybody give me a perception check. Maybe you don't see, I don't know.
Does anybody here speak Sylvan? Any of us?
Yes.
Several people do.
Sylvan.
Oh, okay.
I think, who else said they speak Sylvan?
Does.
All right, a lot of 20s and 30s there. Oh, everybody sees when Vul says, "You know what to do," and you see boop, 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 popping out of invisibility a bunch of creatures off to your left that begin flying towards you, and they look like this. Smaller creatures, smaller than Tiljan, but armed with they have wings and they are armed with bows. It looks like they were invisible, and now they're winging in towards the boat. Some of them are also winging in towards thing, and you can see another cluster of them to the north who are going towards Tiljan.
The trap.
If it's a trap, it was a trap set for her. There's no way they could have set it for you guys. And these guys are flying over through here. They're heading for the bridge. And it is after 11. So we will stop here. And in a couple of weeks, we'll return to here. And you guys will decide what you want to do.
Excellent.
Sounds
good. Sound good. All right. Thanks, you guys. Happy Halloween. Very much appreciate it, and we will all talk soon.
Thank you.
Sorry for the distractions on our end, guys.
Nah, no worries. You guys tell everybody there we said hello, and enjoy the rest of your trip.
Have a safe trip home.
Bye.
Good night, friends. Good night.
All right. Bye, guys.
Good night, guys.